Mi Mix. So if you look at Redmi Note 4, it's pretty much what all phones have looked like for the last few years, the 5.5-inch 16:9 display. But when we compare it to Redmi Note 5, we've reduced the borders on the top and bottom significantly, and we've used all that space to give you more display. It's actually 12.5% more display area in a similar form factor. So we've removed the stuff that you don't need and given you a bigger screen. And when you start using phones like this, any other phone just feels old. Even phones that were released this month, they just feel old. So what can you do with that extra space? Well, if you haven't used it before, it's really great, particularly for web pages where you have more content. You don't have to scroll as much. It's really good for gaming. You either get more space to give you an advantage, or you have bigger touch targets, so you can be more accurate. And Redmi Note 5 also has a similar premium metal body with a tapered back edge. Actually, it's difficult to see here on the slide, but if you compare the taper to Redmi Note 4, the slide here, the angle here is adjusted by a couple of degrees, so it feels smoother, it fits in closer with the edge. When you compare it in the demo zone, you'll see that it feels a lot better in the hand. Another big change we made is that it's a lot thinner. Redmi Note 5 is 8.05 millimeters thick. It's almost 0.5 millimeter thinner than the Redmi Note 4, and it's the thinnest Redmi Note we've ever made. And it still, most importantly, has the same great 4000 mAh battery. So we've made the phone thinner, but we've kept the battery the same. And I think the best part of the Redmi Note 5 design is that it feels modern, but it also is familiar. It looks like a Redmi Note. Here's a look from both the front and the back. Beautiful white and gold. We've also added a new and elegant rose gold, perfect for Valentine's Day today. And a color that some of you might be familiar with, a lot of people ask me about this, Lake Blue. This was really popular when we released it with Redmi Note 4 towards the end of last year. So Redmi Note 5 comes in 4 colors, black, gold, rose gold, and Lake Blue. The design has smaller borders with more display. It's a thinner body with the same battery life, and it still feels great in the hand. Now let's talk about the camera. We've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys on the cameras for Redmi Note 3 and Redmi Note 4, and we worked hard to make changes this year. A lot of people said that the camera of Redmi Note 4 was good as long as the lighting was good, but it started to struggle in low light. So we wanted to change that this year, and we made a bunch of improvements. So let me start with the rear camera. So we've upgraded the rear camera sensor to have a large 1.25 micron pixels. This helps a lot with low light photography, and it's similar to what we had in the main sensor of the Mi A1. It's one of the reasons why people loved that camera so much. And actually, this is the only phone in the segment to have these kind of pixels. So your photos will look brighter and crisper, especially in low light. And compared to Redmi Note 4, it has about 25% more pixel area. And when compared to the 1 micron pixels on Redmi Note 3, it's about 56% more light. So the low light performance on Redmi Note 5 is significantly better than our previous generation Redmi Notes. So let's take a look at a couple of the snaps. This photo here, there's 2 things to notice. If you look at the sharpness on all edges here, really, really crisp, but also the dynamic range. Different petals on this building have different light. You have some parts that are in shadow, you have kind of a yellow light here, a red light here, and it all comes out well. This shows a lot of the power of our HDR algorithm. This photo is, again, taken in low light. All of the lights are off here. It's taken towards the evening, but you can still see a lot of the details in the shop, even though it's dark in there. It shows a lot about good white balance and exposure. This image shows our contrast, and again, auto white balance. You can see the white color of the mushrooms, but there's still bright colors everywhere else in the image. And then even the browns look good here. So photos, and especially low light photos, are a lot better on Redmi Note 5. And it's not just the rear camera, we've also added an LED selfie light on the front. So you have better low light photos, both on the front camera and on the back camera. So now let's talk about quality. I think usually when people talk about focusing on India, they're talking about things like localization, translating deal. I mean, these are things that we did in MIUI 3 years ago. But the customizations that we're talking about here, the things that we did specifically for India, for Redmi Note 5, they all have to do with improving the quality. This is something that Manu talked about, and it's something that we've been focused on for the last year. Our components are sourced from first-class suppliers, and for Redmi Note 5, we raised our standards even more. Redmi Note 4 had a single pyrolytic graphite sheet, and this decreases the surface temperature on your phone by about 1 degree. In Redmi Note 5, we have dual pyrolytic graphite sheets, mouthful, dual pyrolytic graphite sheets, and this further decreases the temperature by another 1 degree to give you 2 degrees total cooler surface temperatures. This is something that we first started talking about with Mi A1, and this is something that we're continuing here with Redmi Note 5. Redmi Note 5 also comes with the charger designed for India. It's a brand new charger that we had to make, and it helps handle power spikes, which are especially common here in India during the summers. Now, the operating voltage of this adapter is the same, but what it's designed to do is handle voltage spikes up to 380 volts. And these are the types of spikes that can destroy your charger, and in the worst case, can destroy your phone. So we've made a specific charger here in India to improve the quality on Redmi Note 5. Redmi Note 5 also has Gorilla Glass, which is something that I think has been asked for quite a few times. And in terms of testing and QA standards, we're actually using many of the same tests that we use on our flagship Mi series. We have a cool video to show you some of these tests. Let's take a look at that now.
At Xiaomi, we strive to serve the best to our Mi fans. Our Redmi series is built with them in mind. Quality products at an honest pricing. Every Redmi device is subjected to more than 4,000 software and hardware tests during the research and development stage. Any failed test leads to a complete redesign of the product. We run with the belief that the more tests we do, there would be fewer problems in the future. We run with the belief that the stricter our tests are, there would be fewer issues faced in the future. At Xiaomi, we believe that quality control is a collaborative effort from the entire team. Quality first has always been the core of Xiaomi and will always continue this way for a long time. Innovation decides how high we soar, while quality defines how far we go.
Here we spent a lot of time talking about why. We talked about 14 nanometer FinFET, and I don't think anybody before this had talked about that. And I think many of you were skeptical at the time. Now we got cheers, thank you. And it turns out that we were right. It turns out that millions of people love the performance on Redmi Note 4. And so we use the same processor because it still gives great power efficiency and great thermal performance. And of course, we've also kept the 4000 mAh battery, which is something that we pioneered here first with Redmi Note 3. Once you start using one of these phones, it just spoils you. It's really difficult to switch to anything else. So that's Redmi Note 5. It's India's all-rounder. All right, now let's talk about price, which I think might still be a surprise. So when we do the comparison, you can see that we took the stuff that made Redmi Note 4 such an easy phone to recommend and really made it the best-selling phone in India. Snapdragon 625, 4000 mAh battery, and we upgraded everything else. You have a full-screen display, 5.99 inches, in a similar size body. You have better low-light performance with the bigger pixel rear sensor and an LED selfie light. So last year, we sold the 332 version for $10,999 with Redmi Note 4. This year, we're starting with a 3 GB version at an amazing price of $9,999. You cannot find a phone like this at that price. So the 4 GB version, which was the most popular version last year, and it is still the best-selling phone at this price. So with Redmi Note 5, we wanted to do even better. We've taken the 4 GB version and made it 11,999. So again, let's take a look at the comparison